Excuse me. Welcome to the stream, everybody. It's Wednesday night. That means it's time to play some Merfolk. I have not been playing much Merfolk this week, so I have certainly not had any time to tweak any kind of list. So just gonna run Bant back. I was on Bant last week. Kind of forget how things went. Maybe it was like 3-1. I think that sounds familiar. The deck felt pretty good. Obviously the mana a little clunky in Bant. Ether Vial going to try to help us with that. I see that Rothgar has added a couple Vapor Snags. Obviously pretty solid against Prowess if they try to go all in on their Kiln Fiend or their Soulscar Mage. With a bunch of like Monomorphoses and things like that, then Vapor Snagging the creature can be a huge blowout. Just a great tempo card for classic modern tempo deck in Merfolk. You guys know I love Unsettled Mariner. Definitely not a big fan of the green cards, but they're sort of necessary evils. We do enjoy having an extra 2-drop Lord, even though the green mana can be annoying. And we do enjoy a 2/2 1-drop, again, even though the green can be annoying. We're hoping that in the new Zendikar set, we're going to get some sweet new Merfolk. Potentially in Modern Horizons 2, whenever that gets announced, we could get some sweet Merfolk. But for the time being, we've got to make do with some of these green and white cards. It has felt okay. Again, the big drawback is the super clunky mana base. In the sideboard, we've got Lurrus. This is a Lurrus deck. It's why you don't see any permanents with CMC greater than 2. Lurrus pretty great with the new adjusted companion rule, where you can pay 3 to bring it to your hand, and then just tick Ether Vial up to 3 and Vial Lurrus in right away. Start recasting your creatures, your Spreading Seas from the graveyard. Got the full 4 Deprives in the board, backing up the 4 Forces in the main deck. Should make us really solid against combo decks. We beat Ad Nauseam last week. Hopefully if we get paired against that kind of a deck, or like Neoform, Living End, that kind of stuff, we should be pretty set with our 8 counter spells. A little bit of Grave Hate, a little bit of Removal, a little bit of Artifact Hate, a little bit of Control Hate, a little bit of Tron Hate. Got a little bit of everything in the sideboard. Pretty balanced list. Trying to be really aggressive with early Merfolk, a little bit disruptive with Merfolk Trickster, Spreading Seas, Unsettled Mariner. That's pretty much it. I'm already in a league with one of my Soul Herder builds, so I'm just going to run some Qs tonight. So hopefully you guys are cool with that. Again, this is just Rothgar's pinned Bant list. Not a lot of white and green cards in the list. Can show you guys the deck list one more time while we wait to be paired for our Q. Again, the only green cards are Speaker, Mistbinder, and then a couple of things in the sideboard, Oof and Veil. Oof, a little easier to get on the table, or easier to use than Veil of Summer, because we can get it onto the battlefield through Ether Vial. Veil of Summer going to actually require us to have green mana. I think last week we encountered a couple of situations where we had opening hands with colored mana requirements that we didn't have in the opening hand and had to mulligan. I think we learned a little bit last week about mulliganing with this kind of 3-color clunky mana base, is that sometimes we do have to keep opening hands with cards that we can't cast, in the hopes of drawing into the right colored mana eventually. So I did win the die roll here. We're going to keep. We're going to reveal Lurrus, and we'll see how it goes. This is a pretty funny hand. We can certainly get out early, pushing some damage. We can cycle this Waterlogged Grove on turn 3. It's only going to leave us with 1 mana on turn 3. Turn 2, I mean, it's got some potential, but this looks more like a mulligan to 6 than an opening 7. So whereas I might keep it on 6, I don't think I need to keep it on 7. So I'm going to mulligan. This is significantly better. Opponent mulliganed as well. So now we're going to keep those 3 cards. Probably just go get basic island, and then clearly going to keep the rest of the spells. All right, so this actually worked out to be a pretty nice 6. Let's see if the opponent keeps their 6. with all the protests that have been going on lately, sirens have not been uncommon outside my window. Don't know if you guys could have heard that that siren passing by. Opponent did keep their 6. Gonna open with Wanderwine Hub, reveal Silvergill, and just play Ether Vial. Okay. Opponent's name is Jets Rule 5. Huh. Okie dokie. Wooded Foothills with no play for turn 1. They might have like a Bolt for a Silvergill or something like that. Red-green is pretty nice if it's Ponza, something like that, because Spreading Seas can be a pretty big blowout if they have Utopia Sprawls. Are going to use the Ether Vial, and drawing gas with 2 lands and Ether Vial is exactly where we want to be. So I'm going to... opponent, a little tricky here, cracking in response. Are they going to somehow blow up my Ether Vial on turn 1? No, it looks like a burn deck, and they're probably just going to try to play around some counter magic or something. Oh, maybe not. They're going to let me get my land. That's fishy. But now I can play Spreading Seas if I feel like it, and I kind of do, actually. I can play my creatures through Ether Vial, so let's do this. I could see some of you guys disagreeing with this line, but I feel pretty good about it. Yeah, Lightning Bolt. Opponent's got those sweet Secret Lair Lightning Bolts. And Kumena Speaker right on time. It was a little sketchy just getting the island rather than getting like an untapped breeding pool to just cast Kumena Speaker, but at this point we can actually just... maybe this is like a zoo deck? They're actually... they have a green-white fetch there. Or maybe it doesn't matter because all of their shocks are just Sacred Foundries. So anyhow, I hope you guys are having a nice Wednesday. I had some appointments for work, but Wednesday is generally a pretty quiet day for me, so it's pretty relaxing. Opponent with the well-timed fetch again. You're gonna bolt me again? Okay. Way to go, opponent. Okay, Mariner is possibly the best possible draw here. Possibly the best possible. I'm just adjusting my wires here. All right. So I'm just going to get that guy down right now. And yeah, just going to start pushing as much damage as possible. Very nice opening for us here. Let's take a look at that Secret Lair Lightning Bolt. This is one of 4 new art, and it's pretty sweet. You can see the skull up in the clouds. It's kind of neat. And then some kind of abstract little guy down on the ground. So Seasoned Pyromancer, some kind of interesting brew. It's not any extremely common modern deck. But we do have Island Walk. Opponent pitches, Jesus, what are they picking? Are pitching Angrath's Marauders. This is a 7-drop. If a source you control would deal damage, it deals double that damage instead. The 7-drop, huh? Seems sketchy. Eldritch Evolution, I guess they're trying to like... This does like CMC +2, right? Anyhow, we're going to look out for any 5-drops, I guess. I don't even know what Winota is. I hear people mention that every now and then. So all we want to draw is like Lords at this point. Spreading Seas is also kind of decent. Why don't I start by just filing in a Silvergill Adept? I mean, if this guy randomly plays like Anger of the Gods, it would be really weird since, I don't know, they seem to be playing to the board here. All right, so if I get in here with Island Walk for 6, it's just lethal anyway, so I think I'll just keep disrupting them with more Spreading Seizes. Spreading Seizes is Vapor Snag. Interesting. That's one more point of damage. Go, Island Walking Merfolk. How are you doing today, Tux? It's good to see you. If you weren't here a few moments ago, I was explaining that I'm just playing Rothgar's pinned list right now. He added a couple of Vapor Snags. Kind of the only innovation. Okay, opponent. Oh, here it is. I get to look at this card. Winota. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. Does he get 2 different triggers? And put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Oh, I guess that's why they're running this crazy thing, right? All right. I mean, I've got a pretty healthy life total here. And the opponent has a pretty unhealthy life total here. So basically only the elementals trigger, right? But so he gets 2 triggers for both elementals, is that right? I guess we'll have to see. I mean, all right. Yeah, 2 triggers. Well, I can still block, right? Huh. All right. So they got this guy, which says it would deal double that damage instead, right? So still not a big deal, right? Still just 4 damage. Is that right? My opponent is super dead, unless there's some crazy creature that I don't know about. Even if they double it twice, it's still just 8 damage, right? So am I wrong in understanding this? If a source you control would deal damage to a player, it deals double that damage instead. And this is double again, right? So it's going to be 4 each, so just down to... I'm dead? Or they're dead? No, they're tapped out. I'm set to take 8 damage. If I don't block, I can of course just block one of that. Oh, these guys are attacking, but I can block, right? Oh, wait, these double, so this is 8. All right, let's go to blocks, right? So I can block this, take 8 damage and win, right? But this doesn't double twice, right? Or do they both double? Okay. They both double. So this is getting in for 8, and this is getting in. These guys are getting in for 4 each, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. I forgot that these guys were attacking. So we're not just dead, right? I do get to draw a card. I get to draw 2 cards if I count, the one off of Silvergill. I can tick this up for Luris, but it's too slow right now. So we're gonna say no here. Yeah, it's 4 times. I'm on top of that, right? So this was 4 and 4. I totally understood. The only thing I was unclear about at first was that these guys were attacking. I guess maybe the chat is significantly behind on the actual game, because I say stuff and then you guys type and it's like sort of behind what's actually happening. Yeah, the fact that he gets 2 triggers to dig 6 deep with the elementals seems pretty busted. Like, it should be like one of those situations where it says like, whenever in any of your combat steps, if 1 or more non-humans attack, you can look. Like, it shouldn't trigger for each attack, I don't think. We're gonna say no here. Mistbinder. I think that does it, because we have Vapor Snag plus damages. So let's do this. Gotcha, Winota. opponent's like, man, don't have another Island Walk Lord. That would be so corny. Meanwhile, yep, it's definitely Xaxes. Vapor Snag for the win. Gotta love it. All right, so Winota in Modern. People have talked about playing that card in Soul Herder. Seems pretty busted, so maybe that's worth testing out. All right, I thought I was just going to play against some wild Nakaddles or something like that, but apparently it's something more combo-y than that. Seems like, I guess Dismember is kind of important, right? Deprive for Winota seems reasonable. I don't know that forces are that important. Spreading Seas seemed pretty clutch there. I gotta say, I like the Vapor Snag tech. That was something that I was messing around with in some of my recent-ish Merfolk builds. I don't know how important Mariner is in the matchup. We do want to protect our lords, so I think it's probably better than some other cards. So I don't know, like maybe 2 Deprives is enough with 2 Dismembers. Like we're on the draw, so holding up Deprive might be a little bit tricky. Maybe it's so important to counter Winota that Deprive is that important. So what else would I take out? Trickster seems pretty excellent because it can take away like that double striking ability. It's not actually double strike, just double power. Could also just hit Winota like at the beginning of combat. Pretty solid. Well, what am I taking out then? I like the Silver Gills. I guess I could trim my early aggression, like, because we're not the beatdown. It makes my mana a little bit better too. So if I just cut the Kamena speakers, bring in 2 more forces, run it like that. So we got no 1-drop creatures, but we do have 12 lords plus some Vapor Snags and 6 counterspells. Speaker is great, huh? All right. Well then, I'm going to cut the forces, and we're going to have to cut something else. I guess I'll cut 2 gills, because we're running out of time. I'm just going to submit the deck. If we lose this game, we can just we can re-strategize. Speaker did allow us to push damage that game. This is a nice hand. Oh my god, this is a really nice hand. Opponent's also beginning with 7 though, so we'll have to see how it goes. What do you guys think about, I mean, you guys might not be Soul Herder experts, but what do you think about Winota possibly seeing play in Soul Herder? Given that it has some humans, it has Eternal Witnesses, it has Venser, that kind of stuff. Also has a lot of non-humans, like all the snakes, Siege Rhino. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't. We're not playing like crazy like 7-drops. Although we could play it and bring in like Agent of Treachery, which would be pretty cool. I haven't actually played with that card yet. All right, opponent probably going to get in with this Mystic, maybe not. Weird. Maybe opponent has some double green instant. I guess they could blow up my Ether Vial, which would slow me down for sure. I like the Vapor Snag. I do. As usual, I think it's probably best just to lead with Mariners. So let's hope that our Ether Vial survives. If the opponent's going to blow it up, they probably would have done that already. Beef it up. All right, well, we're on different pages here. I mean, against Merfolk, you have to think that they're going to bring in some kind of removal. At least that's my presumption. Now, Winota doesn't have haste, right? And it's white, and they don't have any white mana yet. Well, I've literally never played against this card, so... opponent just scoops, so I don't know what's going on. Just afraid of the Merfolk. So that opponent's name is Jet's Rule. Let's see if they... I mean, I'll jump in again. Make them wait if they don't want to play me again. Okay, we got a different opponent, Keldon. Well, it was an easy first round. I mean, we're not playing a league, so shouldn't call it rounds. For those of you late to the stream this evening, I'm currently in the middle of a league with Soul Herder. So I'm just playing queues this evening with Merfolk, which I think is actually pretty cool because you tend to play against pretty interesting decks. All right, we've got a Seachrome Coast and Serum Visions. This could be Ad Nauseam, which would be a decent matchup since we do have a Force in hand, although Spreading Seas, not that amazing. Waterlogged Grove, potentially redrawing. Yeah, that's just it's a free blue card, basically. All right, they went top bottom. They have not suspended any Lotus Blooms, so they just pass the turn, and we draw another Lord. That's one of the best top decks. Just more forces would probably be the best top decks, but we do need a clock, so not complaining about hitting another Lord. Welcome to the stream, Paintball Demon. Nice to see you this evening. Another Serum Visions. Remember, the opponent did go top bottom last time. Okay, they went top bottom again. Got to assume that they have a land here, and no follow-up play. Well, this could be, I mean, it could be a number of things, right? I mean, could be some kind of taking turns deck. Oh, another Lord, nice. I mean, it's pretty slow for a Ad Nauseam deck. They didn't get down the Pentad Prism. They didn't suspend any Lotus Blooms. What are we looking at here? There it is. All right, so now we're locked in. Another Force, please. Another Seize. Probably one of the worst possible draws. All right, so yeah, I mean, we just have to attack for a bunch of damage. And hope that they can't go off with counter backup next turn. So this is just 16. Taking them down to 16. Some of their lands are painful, so it's possible they deal a point of damage and then we draw another Lord and win next turn. I can cycle the Waterlogged Grove next turn, since, you know, I don't really have to cast anything on my main phase. They need a land, Simian Spirit Guide. But it looks like they don't have it here. They could have some Angel's Graces to keep them off of dying. They will have 6 mana next turn, though. They're thinking pretty hard about something. Thinking about whether they can afford to use some of this mana, maybe? Well, a Lord isn't Xaxes, right? A Lord is 1 short. Okay. So we did find a Lord. And I mean, we want to push the 15 damage. And if we somehow lose through quadruple Lord on turn 4, it would feel really bad. But now they can't use any City of Brass, though they should have enough mana as things stand. I mean, really, what a hand, right? We have the counterspell. We had the nearly turn 4. But you can very easily see Ad Nauseam winning in this spot. All I need is 3 cards. Simian Spirit Guide. Interesting. All right, well, we're going to try to counter this. They've got 4 cards in their hand. One of them could very easily be Counterspell. And it is. Lovely. Why would I pitch Seize? Makes no sense. I mean, I guess that's a possibility. Probably better, honestly. Probably better. I just figured I wasn't playing anything. Might as well use my mana. I can draw a card after I lose and see if the next card would have been a force, in which case, good line and pretty bad play, I guess, on my part. No reason to not crack the Grove, honestly. It's just tighter play. That's what I should have done. So, I mean, you don't expect any surprises in these deck lists at this point. They run Thassa's Oracles, Lightning Storms, redundant copies of Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, I mean, it's a chance. It's better than 0% chance, which is what just happened. So let's go ahead and see if I would have drawn a force. No force. Okay. Still, it doesn't justify a poor play, but all right. So we're gonna bring in more counter spells. I feel like we also want to bring in the Veils to counter their counters. I do believe that Damping Sphere is good tech. Apart from that, I think no, Collector Oof is also good. So Vapor Snag's out. Spreading Seas out. Still 4 cards left to go. I guess Trickster's out. I mean, yeah, I think we determined that Mariner probably does more than... Well, actually, it was Mariner does more than Tidebinder. All right, so 8 counter spells, 2 pseudo counter spells, a little tax effect, a little artifact hate. You guys agree with sideboarding out Trickster, Seas, and Snags? Seems to be the play to me. Mariner can sort of just tax them that 1 extra mana if they're trying to do anything that interacts with our creatures or targets us. Silvergill obviously helps us draw into our counter spells while also, you know, doing some damage. If they have Thought Seizes, then yeah, Veil of Summer becomes that much better. All right, let's run it like that. All right, this will do. Opponent keeps 7. Yep, that's not what I want to cast. Okay, Serum Visions. Of the 2 matchups between Winota aggro and Ad Nauseam, I would think that we'd be more likely to 2-0 Ad Nauseam, but we 2-0'd Winota and find ourselves a game down against Ad Nauseam. They did have the nuts pretty much, Ad Nauseam, though it was like a turn slower than they can do. They did have the counter backup. So opponent went top bottom. I'm going to probably get a breeding pool, play out my creatures here. Also, getting a breeding pool will give me access to green mana for Veil of Summer. No more lands for the rest of the game, please. Opponent currently curving out. Do we think they're going to try to go off this turn? It seems unlikely. So it's probably in my best interest to get Lurrus in hand right now, I think. I don't have any permanents in the graveyard that I can pitch right now. And, well, I will have the double white to be able to play him next turn. Lurrus, that is. I can't play the Wanderwine Hub. Huh. It's tricky because if I don't draw a Merfolk, then I will not have double white next turn to actually cast Lurrus. But then I could just tick up the Ether Vial to 3 for Lurrus. Just go to combat, I guess, first. I mean, might as well grab Lurrus, I think. And if we draw any of our Merfolk, we'll still be able to cast it while also holding up to Prive. Next turn. I can't play around. I don't really feel like I should play around the turn 3 kill. It's possible we just lose here, but doesn't look like it's happening. Opponent went bottom with this Serum Visions, followed up by a City of Brass. Kind of makes me wish I had ticked the Ether Vial up that turn. If I had thought a little bit more carefully, maybe I would have done that. Actually, that was just my... Anyhow, so here's the Unlife. So actually, I think Ether Vial just went to 2 last turn, so I wouldn't have even been able to take up for Lurrus yet. Like, this should be my turn 4 right now, I think, on tapping, right? Well, that's kind of funny. We have 1 short of lethal, but if the opponent taps at City of Brass, it'll be exact lethal with Lurrus. I don't know how these combo decks always have turn 3 or turn 4 with like multiple combo pieces plus counter backup or Veil. But it happens all the time. Opponent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana currently. They have exiled no Simian Spirit Guides yet. That's another Pentad Prism. Which kind of just filters their mana. Alright, so opponent's passing. Gonna try to Violin Lurrus here. That's excellent. Best draw. And we are running the 8 counter spells and multiple Veils, so... Well, 2 Veils. Makes sense that we would draw them, but pretty lucky in that spot, I'd say. Pretty unlucky that we have 1 shy of Xaxes. But we do have double counter spells. This is game 2 against Ad Nauseam, currently down a game. We do have to go like 3 more combat steps here currently because of the Phyrexian Unlife. Potentially 2 if we get another creature down. Actually, we'll get the Silvergill down. I could deprive this, but kind of probably shouldn't, just because I can attack and then replay my creature. I just want to attack with Lurrus next turn. Get the opponent below 1 at least. And now we can Violin the Silvergill Adept. The Lord is pretty good there. But not really necessary yet. Because really the whole point of this turn is just get the opponent below 1. That's with the unlife on the table, that's kind of all we can do right now. So I'm probably going to attack. If they block the Lord, let's back this up. I'll just violin the other Lord right now, just so none of my creatures die. All right, this is going to represent lethal. It's going to put the opponents back against the wall. So let's see if they have a double counterspell. Double counterspell protection. Guess they're going to wait till my turn to go off. Or maybe they just have... I don't think that Angel's Grace does it here, right? Because they're already below... They're already taking poison. Angel's Grace doesn't really affect that. They can Darkness, which I haven't seen in a while from Ad Nauseam. Okie dokie. Let's get to it. If they go for a fog effect, I think we're supposed to let those resolve. Not sure if you guys are tuned in here. You've been pretty quiet for the last few minutes, but interested to know your thoughts on this situation. If they have a fog and I have 2 counterspells, well, again, I don't think Angel's Grace really does anything because they're going to go to lethal poison and then die on their upkeep, right? Or they're untap, or another upkeep, I guess. It's when they would receive priority, right? Yeah. It's weird how that works. It says they lost the game due to having 10 or more poison counters, and then it immediately passed the turn to me and put the Ether Vials on the stack. That's really weird. MTGO is really weird. But anyhow, that's how the matchup should go. It should go creatures and counterspells. GG. Luris did contribute, so I think that the line that I chose was actually pretty solid there. Yeah, Angel's Grace not going to do what they wanted to do in that spot. Interesting, actually, that the opponent went for it, because you would think that an Ad Nauseam player should know what their cards do. And we didn't even get to cast either of our counterspells that game. A little disappointing. Now, if they cast something, and I cast a counterspell, and they cast Veil... in a counter war where the other person could have Veil, is it not best, like if they cast Ad Nauseam, is it not best for me to cast, if I cast my Veil first, my spells, I don't even know how, it's like their spells can't be countered as long as their Veil resolves, no matter what. But if my spells can't be countered, in theory, that could mean that even if they would be countered by game rules, which is to say, yeah, my brain hurts. I'm gonna keep this, I guess. A little slow being on the draw, but the opponent's mulliganing to 6. If I cast a counterspell and I have a Veil in hand and they Veil, I think my Veil is sort of pointless at that point. Is that correct? Is that how Magic works? Right. That is what I thought. Okay, so opponent not suspending anything, playing 2 lands with no spells. I'm getting really tired of drawing lands at this point. We only have 18 lands in the whole deck, which makes it pretty ridiculous that we hit running lands for the first 2 draws. But if they have a counterspell and I have Veil, then obviously that's pretty sick. Opponent gonna push. What's happening here? Veil of Summer, just cycling it. They must not like their mulligan to 6 here. Already the Gemstone Mine is beginning to tick down. I wonder if they go for like Phyrexian Unlife, if I should just counter it here. Because they're getting low on their mana, and just making them tick down their Gemstone Mine seems pretty good. Well, opponent is thinking quite a lot about this. I wonder if I should counter almost like whatever they play because of this double Gemstone Mine. Like if they play a... I probably shouldn't counter a Pentad Prism. All right, maybe they have that like Bontu's Last Reckoning in hand, which is something I would definitely look to counter if they cast it. Well, that's pretty sick. Yeah, I think I can continue to play out creatures for the time being. So opponent maybe thinking good decision, holding back their Bontu's Last Reckoning if that's what they're holding. And if that's the case, I can pitch this extra Lord. And hopefully they don't have a Pact. Though if they have a Pact, they also need to have Angel's Grace. And remember, this is a mulligan to 6 for them. And they're running out of mana with these Gemstone Mines. So see how it goes. They're thinking. Gonna kill. Oh, they're going for spoils here. That's fine. I can't do anything on my turn. They could lose a lot of life on this here. Because it's resolving. Like, they didn't cast an Angel's Grace here. They took exactly two damage. That's pretty lucky, huh? Thassa's Oracle, and it was the 3rd card on top of the deck. Jesus. All right. Pretty lucky. But they do have the Thassa's Oracle here, so they could go Angel's Grace. Nah, they need another spoils. They need one more mana to actually win here, I think. Be nice if I drew another blue card next turn so I could play out the Lord and continue holding up both counter spells. Opponent somehow more than 5 minutes behind me despite playing like the most linear deck in the format. Oracle to me means that they have either Angel's Grace or a Spoils of the Vault, another Spoils of the Vault in the hand, potentially both of them. Okay, they're just passing. Doesn't seem like they're working with too much here. They could go for Bontu's, in which case I would be priced into countering it. But again, no counters up. So I think we have to hold off on casting the Lord now. I'm just going to play the Ether Vial and pass. We currently have a 3-turn clock. If I play the Lord, it's a 2-turn clock. If I swing for 6, it goes to 9. If they draw any pain land, it's still a 2-turn clock from here. But I'd rather have 2 counter spells up. It is a 3-turn clock if I have to pitch the Lord. And keep this land in hand in case they try to go for Lightning Storm. They're always going to have more lands than us, but sometimes you can get them on just like misclicking because it's kind of a stupid card, how you have to like click and hold priority and all these things. If they go for like Bantus here finally, I can just hard cast Force. I think might be the better play. So opponent has played, I think, 2 spells this game. They cycled Veil of Summer, and then they cast Spoils of the Vault to find Thassa's Oracle, which is the one card that we know about in their hand. I kind of like this art for Thassa's Oracle. Although, and it's another in this long series of Merfolk that don't get played in Merfolk, which makes it extra obnoxious despite having really beautiful art. Same artist as Trickster, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's been a while since I thought about this stuff. Opponent just like keeps tanking over and over again. Angel's Grace. Okay. Spoils of the Vault. So I think I want to try to counter this now. I kind of want to thin my deck, so I'll bounce the island. Okay, that was successful. We can grab a breeding pool here. I guess the best draw is another Deprive in this spot. Oh, this is really tempting then, huh? Wow, like sort of way to put the decision to us here. They just spent an Angel's Grace. They have the Thassa's Oracle. They haven't played a land. They spent 2 Spoils of the Vaults. I feel like I need to continue to hold up a counterspell, right? Like, if they just Angel's Grace me here and then do their thing next turn, still hard to see how they like what their line is, and it might be too defensive to not play out both of these lords. But I mean, if I play out a lord and hold up Force, it's that much harder. They didn't counter my counterspell on that turn, so if I play both lords in the Angel's Grace right now, they untap at 1 life. They have a Gemstone Mine on 1. They play a land. They go, I mean, they've got 4 mana. They can go But if they cast the Angel's Grace now, that means they can't cast the Angel's Grace on their turn. I mean, they'd have to have 2 Angel's Graces in hand. I think I want to go for the win here, guys. Any thoughts? You guys are being pretty quiet. I think just attacking seems good. In order to win next turn, I'm pretty sure they need to have 2 Angel's Graces. We are 4 minutes ahead on time, so I can afford to wait to see what your guys' impression of the situation is. Hold up a counterspell or attack for the win here. Definitely going to play at least 1 Lord, so I can go ahead and try to do that. I guess you guys are all like either playing or daydreaming, but I'm going to go for it, and you guys can tell me later if you think it's stupid or awesome. So do you have 2 Angel's Graces, opponent? All right, well, there's 1. And let's see if we get punished here. Be pretty insane, I'd say. They need another Angel's Grace here to win. A sleight of hand. I don't think they can get there. They need a blue land. Plus... No, they can't do it because they don't have mana for at this point for double blue and white. They need double blue for Thassa's Oracle and white for Angel's Grace. So anyhow, yeah, I think I made the right decision there. It took a little while. I had to go in the tank, but opponent did have an extra Angel's Grace. Looks like they don't have another Angel's Grace here. And even if they did, I don't think it helps them actually get there. So opponent just thinking through their options. They could have another Angel's Grace just to try to not die next turn, even if they can't combo off here, but you can see these gemstone mines are getting pretty sketchy. Okay, so opponent scooped. 2-0 for the evening so far. Just going to jump back in to another queue. All right, so just waiting for an opponent for the third match. Deck performed pretty well in that match just then against Ad Nauseam. Looks like we have an opponent, I think. Vapor Snag already has proven its worth this evening. We won the die roll here, which is pretty cool. And yeah, we're getting beautiful opening hands, so I'm going to keep this. Opponent mulligans to 6. And they keep their 6. Really, really picture perfect opening hand. Is this some kind of shadow deck? It could just be... Let's see. I haven't really seen shadow in a while. This is not, it's not a Lurrus deck, which is kind of funny. Oh wait, maybe it is. What is this shield? Oh no, that was an effect waiting to resolve. Okay. So not a Lurrus deck, despite running Bauble. Force just kind of rounds the hand out, which is pretty nice. I don't really think I need to get green or white mana here with Ether Vial on the board and Force back up, so I think I'm just going to keep getting basic islands. And I'm going to play a Lord. Dismember. Okay, so it's some kind of shadow deck. I mean, Grixis Shadow. We've got the Trickster to sort of help with the timing of our Alpha Strike. Opponent looks like they may be stuck on one land, but it's possible they're just, yeah, taking their time. Okay, opponent's down to 8. Angler. Well, Vapor Snag will be absolutely absurd if I draw it. They could have a counterspell, but Vapor Snag's still pretty beautiful in this this particular situation. All right, so I mean, odds are we're just going to Trickster and then Violin like Mistbinder, I guess. Man, I haven't seen this deck in a little while. Opponent went top bottom with their Serum Visions. All right, we're going to tap this Gurmag Angler right now. Untap, we can have 7 damage, which is pretty close. Opponent representing all manner of possible removal right now. I could tick this up and try to go for Lurrus, but since we don't have the 3 mana right now, it's probably unwise, particularly given the fact that we still have 2 drops left in hand. Okay, well, we can hardcast Force. That's kind of cool. If they flash in like a Snapcaster to try to get some blocks in, it's not particularly great for them. I think I will go for a Force if they just try removal. Hey, Fruit Kid. Yeah, it's good to see you here. So opponent's going to take 5, go down to 3. Could have Violin a Lord, but I feel like it's probably better just to continue slow rolling it. So what do you got? Nothing. They just untapped. Play a land, and I mean, even Double Strike here doesn't really do it, right? So sort of fine seeing a Battle Rage if that's what they want to do. Seems like they're in a spot where they might not even want to attack, right? Okay, Death Shadow. So they could have removal and counterspell, but we should have 2 lords here. Let me crack this. I am going to get an untapped Hallowed Fountain just to hold up Force even right now without having to pitch a lord. Okay. Let's go like Mariner right now would be the best. I can't imagine a much better spot. Yeah, there we go. All right. So pretty clean win against Grixis Death Shadow game 1. Clearly, Veil of Summer going to be a house against them. I think Rest in Peace is actually pretty solid against them. They need their resources to cast Gurmag Anglers. They also have Snapcasters. Dismember, pretty good. And I think we probably want to fight more on the like deprive axis than on the force axis. That might actually we could take out these spreading seas, I think. Vapor Snag just a really awesome card in the matchup. Nice to hear that you're having a good time with Magic, Fruit Kid, lately. It's a guy in the Soul Herder Discord who just said today that he sold his last Magic deck today. I guess he doesn't have any time and no money, and he's unhappy with the direction that Wizards is taking the game. So our collective interest in Magic waxes and wanes. Aether Vial is so good in the matchup. They could have Kolaghan's Command. I feel like I can trim like 2 Mistbinders. And I feel sort of fine like this. It's an attrition matchup, and so pitching a card for force is never that amazing. So bringing in Veils, bringing in Rest in Peace. Possibly Rest in Peace, not that insane, but even if it makes them like burn a Stubborn Denial, it seems pretty decent. So we'll submit like this. Keep in mind that we have this extra green and white mana requirement this game. Okay, we are a little bit ahead on time. Ahead of game, and God, the deck is just hooking us up tonight. And the opponent could Thoughtseize our Aether Vial away, but man, cannot ask for a better hand than this. So we're keeping, opponent's keeping 7. You know, Death Shadow can dismantle your hand and then just steamroll you, but this is really, really nice. So it looks like we might have to go Hallowed Fountain Breeding Pool, which is pretty dirty as far as the mana requirements are concerned. Okay, well, yeah, hitting ourselves like we're playing Death Shadow on our side of the board here. I mean, like a Wanderwine hub off the top would be pretty awesome, so we don't have to keep hitting our life total to get this Mariner onto the battlefield. Okay, Street Wraith, another Street Wraith. Thoughtseize, what's going on here? All right, so Serum Visioning right now. 2 cards on the bottom, and do we have a Death Shadow? I guess it doesn't make sense since they're at 13. Oh, they just passed the turn. All right, so I think we play a land, we go to attacks. If I had a Trickster in hand, I would just pass with Deprive up. I'm going to try to get in for 2 here. It's possible it turns on the opponent's Death Shadow, but ain't no bitch. So now the opponent may want to push or dismember the Komena Speaker, which is sort of fine. Oh, they just let it go. Now, you could imagine this situation with Aether Vial on the board would just be busted because we'd be able to get our creatures down, we'd be able to hold up counter magic. Opponent can cast a Gurmag Angler, which looks like it's what they're doing here. They're not going to have blue mana up if I draw Vapor Snag, so let's go Vapor Snag. Another Deprive, huh? I think we just have to keep jamming Lords. Lords for days. That is the plan. Once we get to, like lethal, we can try to play out a Lord of Atlantis, see how it goes. We are at 14. Do need to be a little bit careful with our life total. Well, let's just hope the opponent keeps tapping down. Might need to chump block a little. I don't even know. Let's see how this goes. Snapcaster Inquisition. They're going to have to pay 1 for this. I don't know that they actually realize that, which would effectively tap them out and just win us the game. So go for it, opponent. Let's do it. Nice. Love it. Love it. Opponent did not realize, but they really want to look at my hand, and that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. Love it. So good. Just absolutely wrecking Death Shadow. I mean, opponent could have like exactly Slaughter Pact, right? Yeah, I do. I have to play an Island Walk Lord, so if they have a Slaughter Pact, like, dude, like, oh, they can't even pay for Slaughter Pact though because of Unsettled Mariner. So GG. Man, what a game. Like, sometimes this deck just feels so strong. Walking on your island, son. Deal with it. Oy. His opponent didn't seem to realize that they were like super dead on board. Force of Despair, does it also target? Nah, does it just like wipes my board? I kind of forget Force of Despair. Let's see. Force of Despair. Yeah, it's a board wipe that nobody plays. I think I saw it like the first day it came out. Is it called Force of Despair? It's not even showing up. It's not even showing up. Force of something. Let me check on Google, see what Google has to say. Oh, I have a period before that for some reason. All right, let's get it. Oh, it does have this sick art. I love this art. Destroy all creatures that entered the battlefield this turn. Wow, that would be like pretty nifty, right? It would kill exactly my Island Walk Lord. What a blowout that would have been. I would be happy to lose to that, honestly. What a cool card that would be in that spot. All right, so we're 3-0 for the evening. We beat Winota, we beat Ad Nauseam, and we beat Death Shadow. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. So think about what Mariner just did in that spot. If the opponent was thinking Snapcaster Inquisition, hold up black red for push or lightning bolt, just gave us the win, right? It's pretty sensational, like just really remarkable. if they like, I mean, it just limits their options so much, right? If they had like a Kolaghan's command, maybe they try to Inquisition me and they pay the tax, but then they don't have mana for Kolaghan's command. So it just, Marin is so good in these kinds of matchups. All right, so let's jump back in. The water feels fine this evening. We are getting hooked up with our opening hands, I have to say. I think I did mulligan like in one game, maybe two games, but hasn't really mattered. Like the mulligans have just been solid. One of the hands against Ad Nauseam was a little bit clunky. It was like 3 lands, 3 lords, and like a deprive or a force, but I mean it's creatures, lands, and counterspells. So I feel like I can only complain about that hand because I've just been getting like 2 lands, Ether Vial, and spells, which is like just exactly what we want every single game. Hard to beat Merfolk when they have 2 lands, Ether Vial, and spells. I feel like in the metagame, Vapor Snag is pretty well situated right now. I mean, if we look at the matchups, it was pretty poor against Ad Nauseam, but obviously quite good against Winota, and then quite good against like Gurmag Angler, for example. Well, not for example, exactly Gurmag Angler. Just waiting for another opponent to join. I've always liked Vapor Snag. Pretty cool card. That Winota deck that we saw earlier was very interesting. Apparently, it's a thing in Pioneer, I guess, and maybe in Standard. But I don't really follow those formats right now. I was into Pioneer for a little while, but why would anybody get this nasty, like, urine-colored Winota that's supposed to represent foil when they could just get this one that the colors are actually correct? I'm pretty sure that the foils online actually cost less than the non-foils, which is such a fail on Wizards' part. I think you can choose an option in the settings to animate the foil. So let's go ahead and animate the foil and see if it actually looks cool. What do you got, Winota? You gonna shine for me? Look at that. Look at that. Rainbow action. Nice. Imagine that sitting on the battlefield in front of you. It's like somebody's moving the light back and forth. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the foil animation off because I think it's like crushing my system. the way that MTGO uses resources is ridiculous. Opponent is on the play, unfortunately. And excuse me. 4 lands. It looks like we have a Jace Mage over here, so this force might be pretty useful. It's like 4 lands and spells. Kind of hard to mulligan. Sorry, 3 lands, 4 lands, and then 3 spells. 3 spells, 4 lands. I can cycle the Waterlogged Grove. I'm on the draw. I feel like this is probably like on the keepable side. Yeah, I'll keep it. It's not my favorite, but whatever. All right, opponent plays a Polluted Delta, and our hand gets somewhat better. Nice. We'll just play one of our shocks tapped. Pass the turn. If opponent plays anything worth countering, I'll probably pitch this Mistbinder, least important card in the hand right now. You got to take like as much information as you can. Like if the opponent has Jace in his avatar, probably means, you know, Force is slightly more valuable than against somebody who has, you know, like Champion of the Parish or something like that. Speaker's interesting, but that guy can come down next turn. I think this list has no caverns, which I didn't notice when I put it together, but that has to be a mistake, I think. Cavern is such a sick card. I mean, this guy is very clearly representing Monolith here. Path me. Oh, it's some kind of Bant deck that does nothing on the first 2 turns. Come on, Force of Negation. Take me home. Counter a stupid Teferi or something. Although Teferi can't bounce my creature here, which is sick. If the opponent tries to tick down a Teferi here, that would be like such a blowout. Nobody reads Unsettled Mariner. Like, literally nobody has any idea how the card works. It might as well just be like a full art with no text box. Come on, Teferi. Fortunately, we wouldn't give them the chance. Oh, look at that. I called it. Now, if they tick up, they go to 5. I feel like I can't let this resolve. So I'm not going to let it resolve. I could also just not care and just attack the opponent. If I let it go, do we think that the opponent's going to try to bounce on Unsettled Mariner? It's almost worth letting it resolve just like to see if that's what they do. Does feel like they're going to follow up with the board wipe, so I'm probably going to slow roll some of my development. And if they do board wipe, then I don't really want to deal with this Teferi, so I'm going to counter it. I don't love it, but Teferi is quite annoying. And I shouldn't play hoping the opponent's going to make some stupid punt where they try to bounce the Mariner and then lose their Teferi. I get now the question is, do I play around Supreme Verdict or not? I can play Speaker and then just, well, I kind of want to get the Ether Vial down. So maybe I'll just play Speaker, or maybe I'll just play Ether Vial and hold up like Cracking Waterlogged Grove. And then we can play our creatures later just through Ether Vial. Just seems fine to me. We don't really need to expand our board right now. And if it is a Supreme Verdict deck, which it very much looks like, then Luris should hopefully be some kind of help. Thinking a lot before their land drop. Okay, not doing nothing. And I will happily draw another card, hopefully a creature. Let's go deck. Yes. All right, so now we can start just vialing in stuff on their end steps. End steps, plural. And you know what, like, if they just want to, like, no value flash in Snapcaster, whatever. Can't imagine that's what they're gonna do. Yeah, that would be stupid. Yeah, I think I might as well just go get Luris in hand at this point. I don't think I'm ever going to hardcast it, so I'll just get a basic island for now. I mean, life total probably doesn't matter, but they're probably gonna, they could just Field of Ruin me at some point. I don't know, whatever. Can't counter this opponent. I mean, they could like bounce my Ether Vial with Cryptic Command, but then they can't pay for it, so Unsettled Mariner just kind of holding down the fort. All right, no idea what's happening on the opponent's side. They actually have a Temple Garden in their deck. This is, I'm going to call some kind of Spell Queller Collected Company nonsense. In which case, if we do eventually get them to tap low, then we can, all right, what's happening here? Jace. All right, bounce my dude, Jace. You know you want to. Bounce him. Bounce the dude. Oh, look at this. I just got to pay the tax. He's wasting this on ticking up? Huh. All right, well. Pay the tax, opponent. Pay the tax. How strange. So I can just put Kumena's speaker down. Attack the opponent. How much damage can I push next turn? 8. I could easily get Jace off the board if I felt like it. Which might be worth it. I love that if the opponent wipes the board, I can just put like another Mariner back on the battlefield. All right. Deck is hooking it up, making me feel good with the 18 lands that we're playing. I think we need to just keep going for the jugular here. Attack the opponent, let them wipe the board. We just vial in another Mariner. Opponent's at 8, goes down to 6, goes down to whatever. Can eventually tick up Ether Vial. Maybe I should hard cast a Lord just to deal with Jace. Jace is a real pain in the butt, and it does give the opponent extra draws for the rest of the game. I think I can afford to burn one of these Lords here. And if the opponent doesn't have the board wipe, which they almost certainly do, then they're just dead. All right, let's kill Jace. Start the beatdowns next turn. I mean, they should need like multiple board wipes in this game. All right, what do you got? The not telegraphed at all Supreme Verdict. Okay. Well done, opponent. Do they have a 6th land to play? They do. So they can path and pay for it. So I think it might actually better just to get Silvergill down here. Do we want to... I guess I could cast Luris. I could hard cast Luris while still keeping Ether Vial on too, but then taking Ether... I'll kind of wait for a second Ether Vial. Want to wait for a second Ether Vial for that. Silvergill drew gas, which is important to note. I don't think it's time to tick the Ether Vial up yet. Jesus, the deck is just hooking it up. Now we can flash in Trickster on their end step. I think I am going to play this Kumena's speaker. They're going for the path. Okie dokie. They are down to 2 cards. We get our last island out of the deck. I am going to play the Kumena's speaker, vial in something, and flash in Trickster. Let's see what the opponent's got. Okay, Astrolabe. Opponent back up to 3 cards. Leading on Astrolabe doesn't really mean very much. Okay, there is that Field of Ruin. Which kind of sucks because we don't have another basic. Oh, they're going for the green. That's kind of cool. Okay. I guess that's fine. And now 4 mana for another Jace, maybe? 4 mana for Cryptic, presumably. So I don't think that I want to go like super all in yet. So I think I might just vial in one of these. We can vial in the Mariner. See what the opponent is working with. Like, we can just keep this on 2 for now. Eventually it's going to go to 3 and we can play out some more stuff. That Spreading Sea is pretty bad, but since I'm not going to actually... Well, let's go to a combat first. Tap my team? No. No tapping teams. I think this is worthy of flashing in Trickster just to push a little bit more damage. They do have mana to path the Mariner. But before blocks, I think I do want to flash in this Trickster. Tap down the Snapcaster. I could Violin the Lord, but then they would just kill the Lord. Yeah. Opponent down to 1 card in hand. Though remember, the path is coming from the graveyard. Well, if they counter this, I'll just Violin the Lord and we'll crack for 6. Okay, they're casting it now. Interesting. Oh, wait, I have no more basics. That's fun. And yeah, I'll just let this go now. So next turn, I think it's time to tick up the Ether Vial. Opponent officially low on cards. 1 in hand, drawing up to 2. And we just have to hope that they don't have, like, crazy nuts, I guess. We have rationed our resources. And now it's time to just go ham, I think. Opponent on the 1 card in hand. Time to tick up the Ether Vial, which will allow us to play another Lord from the graveyard. If we... Oh, hey, that's kind of nice. So I could actually just save my Lord if I feel necessary or relevant. Let's see how it goes. Attack, attack. Actually, I could have gone for the win right away. Kind of slow rolling it here. But I do have the Vapor Snag for 1 more point of damage. And let's see if I had played the other Lord and they had nothing, that would have just won. So possibly a little bit too conservative here. Maybe I should just play out the Spreading Seas since that's kind of all I want to do here. Okay. All right, well, I guess the opponent needs the board wipe, but I do have the follow-up. Sanctuary for the Verdict. So that is going to be their draw for the turn, which should mean the game is just about over. I could also just Vapor Snag one of my creatures in response. It doesn't even seem that relevant. So happily taking the 2. The opponent knows that I have Lurrus in hand. And we could, of course, snag the Lurrus if the opponent tries to get him. Do I want to save any of my creatures? I mean, I might as well, right? Let's save more instant speed power. All right. But they should just be dead to Lurrus. They don't even have white mana up. Oh, so opponent conceded the game. All right, so some kind of Bant control, Bant snow control with Planeswalkers. I think it was correct to attack the Jace down, but we just really are drawing the nuts tonight, so that's a big part of why we're doing so well this evening. Rest in Peace seems decent against Mystic Sanctuary decks, Snapcaster decks. Collector Oof could take them off of Astrolabe, but also take us off of Ether Vial. So that doesn't seem that amazing. For those of you just tuning in, we're currently 3-1 for the evening, just playing Qs tonight. We beat Winota Aggro. We beat Ad Nauseam. And then after that, we beat something else. And now we're a game up against Bant Control. Spreading Seas straight out. I think Vapor Snag is actually pretty good. It's sort of kind of like a counter spell against a board wipe because it saves one of our dudes. But it's sort of the easy trim, I guess. Oh yeah, always has white mana up. I just wonder like how many minutes behind you guys are. Like I'm gonna say like please type in the chat right now. Now. Just so I see how late it is. Type the word now. Now. Okay, well that's not too bad. It's like 10 seconds or something. It's not unwinnable. I don't know if that are you saying it's unwinnable? I mean Vapor Snag is the nuts against prowess for sure. So bringing in Veils, Deprives, 2 Rest in Peace, taking out all my C's, 2 Mistbinders, 2 Vapor Snag seems pretty solid. Yeah, no, it definitely is painful for sure. It's a point against us in the matchup, but we do have things in our favor against prowess. You've got the Vapor Snags. Against burn, you've got your Mariners, which can tax them so heavily if they can't deal with it right away. All right, well the cool hands continue with the deck tonight. Not going to be throwing this one away. The mana is so weird in this deck. Like the fact that I have 2 basics, pretty ridiculous. And, you know, even drawing a late Ether Vial is going to be pretty good if we find one. We do have 2 breeding pools in the deck. Pretty sure. Don't really know what I'm playing with. 2 breeding pools. All right. Yeah, man, the Hyena. Yeah, I guess you're just joining me, but the opening hands have just been like totally nuts this league. Like if I go for another that Ether Vial. Yo, I'm gonna play Ether Vial and they're gonna mono leak it, and I'm going to Veil it, and it's just gonna be a ridiculous blowout. Actually, gonna go for it main phase just to like get it out of the way. Come on, mono leak. Let's go. You know you want to. Oh my god. Oh. Screenshot. Get wrecked, opponent. Man, I called that line like 20 minutes ahead of time right there. Man, I just want to draw Veils. Just like there have been moments with Soul Herder where I've drawn, where I've played 4 Veils in the sideboard, actually pretty recently, and like you're never unhappy to draw a Veil in matchups where it matters. All right, I think we're doing pretty decently here. So I'm gonna do exactly what I did in the last game and just sort of slow roll my creatures. I might play out another Kumena Speaker here. I'm gonna attack first though. Pew. Take that, opponent. Do I feel like playing another Kumena Speaker into a board wipe? I don't think I do. I'm just gonna pass the turn. That's fine. So now we're getting a little bit more balanced on creatures. Might not have to worry too much about a board wipe. I mean, depending on if they play out more creatures. I mean, the plan at this point is just to vial in a Kumena Speaker, like nothing else. Although I might even not want to do that, like just vial in I guess I will. And rather than vial in a Lord, I mean, I could vial in a Lord and counter like a Cryptic command or any kind of removal. Well then. I'm sort of fine with this trade though. Like, just keep slow rolling it. Like, just vial in a Trickster next turn. And just keep grinding the opponent's resources. I mean, I could vial in a Trickster just to tap the thing down. But I think I just kind of want to, like, rumble here. If I vial in a Lord and get too fancy, like, then they're not going to Cryptic tap my team. If they Cryptic, like, bounce Ether Vial, I don't think I'm even going to, like, vial anything in response. Opponent's thinking really hard. I guess now that I've got Force up, I could vial in the Lord, deprive. I haven't played a land yet this turn, so I could deprive like a Cryptic and then force something on their turn. But they're not even close to double white. I guess they could play a white source and an Astrolabe and then have double white, which would be super sneaky. What do you guys think about this line that I'm talking about here? Where, like, I'll vial in a Lord. I mean, what are they going to do at this point? Cryptic bounce the Lord? It seems like a good line. I could deprive that, replay my land, and then just hold up, like, Trickster on Trickster Force if they try to play, like, a Jace or something. I mean, if they try to play Astrolabe next turn, I could even just counter that so that they can't Verdict me. I kind of feel like being aggressive, getting feisty here. Let's see how it goes. An opponent could have, like, clicked me in response to the Ether Vial. What do you got, dude? What do you got? Nothing. They got nothing. Maybe another Ice Fang. Sick. If I pass to their turn right now, I think I want to play a Speaker here, because then I'll still have Deprive and Force up, and it'll be Lethal Island Walk next turn. So let me go ahead and crack this. Opponent doesn't like this. Snapcaster from Monoleak. So I think I let them tap out for the Monoleak, and then deprive the Monoleak. They could also have a Force, but sort of down. I mean, to have exactly land, Astrolabe, Supreme Verdict in hand, or it needs to be white land, Supreme Verdict, plus Astrolabe. All right, lethal on board with counter magic backup. All right, and they just scooped it up. So, Murpho getting there. You got to play aggressive sometimes with this deck. You know, I can definitely fairly be accused of playing too conservatively at moments. You know, like, you see all the lines that the opponent can play. You know, like, oh, they're going to Cryptic, or they're going to play Astrolabe and double Path or something like that. But You know, if you have 2 counter spells in hand, I think, you know, that's when you should be looking to get frisky, and paid off there. Man, look at what the deck has given us tonight. It's just like so nice. All right, so currently 4-0. Do you guys remember it was Winota and then Ad Nauseum? That deck. Oh, it was Death Shadow, and now Bant Control. All right, let me take a quick break, and then we'll play one more match to wrap up the stream. All right. Hyena, the point about getting another breeding pool is reasonable, except the opponent's not going to try to mono-leak if that's like their only out, just because I might have Veil. They've got to try for it. I mean, I don't think putting the fear into them actually would have done anything. And actually, I didn't need to. I didn't need to crack my fetch right then anyway. It was kind of random timing. It's just sometimes, like, your opponent can get you. Like, imagine they go for removal, and I crack my fetch, or no, I crack my fetch, and then they go for removal, so I can't deprive. So I don't know. Maybe it was actually better just to wait there. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so currently 4-0. Deck treating us extremely well tonight. And yeah, the matchups have been reasonable, right? It's not like we're just playing against random brews. I mean, I don't know how real Winota is in Modern, but they had a pretty explosive game 1. I think it was like turn 4. Turn 4, they came at us for 24 damage. It was like 8, 8, and 8. 24 damage on turn 4, and we just blocked and then won with Island Walk. When our deck draws hot, it can be really hard to win against us. All right, so I don't know. We take a look at the list while we're waiting for an opponent in the queue. Excuse me. We're taking a look at Winota a bit earlier. All right, we found an opponent. They won the die roll. They have a Birds of Paradise avatar. That sometimes means a newer player. Again, always trying to get information where possible. So this is a somewhat painful opening hand with our mono base, but can't complain. Turn 1, turn 2. Opponent's keeping 7. We're going to keep 7, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, Junding it up, I guess. Well, I do need to go get... This is rough. Oh, that was actually a sick draw. Because if they play Renin 6 on turn 2, I cannot play a Kamena Speaker with Waterlogged Grove because it'll just be a 1-1. And I am going to want to get white mana for Unsettled Mariner. So, gotta play Breeding Pool. Say yes, and now we have a 2-2. So Renin 6, not going to be able to kill this guy. Gotta think about this, the weird text boxes. Gotta have an island. Gotta have a merfolk. Man, if we can get this Mariner down, it should be pretty sick against John. Let's see how it goes. Oh my god. Opponent kept an opening 7 with just Raging Ravine. Don't say it ain't so, opponent. Okay. Okay, Inquisition. What are they gonna... They have to take Mariner. I don't know, you take Trickster if you've got Tarmogoyf as your win condition, I guess, if you know what's up. I don't know. I feel like you take Mariner here. It's pretty spicy. Yeah. And what are we gonna bolt this guy? Fair enough. All right, deck just hooking it up. I'm gonna chill on white mana for a minute. Since the only card in the main deck is Mariner, although it's really good in the matchup, and maybe I'll just take 1 off of Grove this turn to play a Silvergill Adept. There's a lot of fetches in this build, like a lot of fetches. Like 4, 5, 6, like 8 fetches out of 18 lands. So odds are we can, like, the odds of drawing another Mariner, having already used one, and not drawing another white source seem pretty slim. And we've only got 2 drops in hand. Although we don't have Vial, so we might eventually want to play Luris. So I might just want to go get a Hallowed Fountain out of the deck right now. Yeah, it kind of hurts, but I think we kind of need to do it. Just for Luris considerations. Now, Silvergill gets wrecked by Renin 6. But if the opponent just plays Liliana, they could play Thoughtseize and take the Silvergill. Like, kind of want to get the Silvergill out. If they play Renin 6, then, you know, kudos, opponent. I feel like they would jam their Planeswalker on turn 2. All right, so what have we had? We've had Inquisition into Bolt into Liliana. Fair enough. I kind of don't mind drawing lands at this point just because of how much value I can get out of Luris, potentially. So again, they have not played out their Renin 6, which I believe they would have done even with the mana to play Liliana here. So maybe it's risky running out the Silvergill Adept here. You just hate to get it taken out of your hand. Like, my hand is pretty solid here. I'd love to keep the card advantage going. Liliana's going to plus, and so card advantage is kind of important for that reason. Also, we need to draw lands to start double spelling. I mean, I guess the best draw here is another Komena Speaker. That would be really, really good. All right, well, can't really complain about Trickster. I believe the opponent does not know about these 2 cards. I think they know about these 3. Mistbinder seems like the least important here. Opponent pitches a forest, means they certainly have another land in hand. All right, I mean, clearly there's some removal here for Liliana, and now it might be time to just start holding up Tricksters. opponent down to 2 cards. I mean, it's totally possible they don't have removal, but it's kind of how Jund rolls, right? So they're going to take Liliana up. I'm going to pitch, I guess, one of my... maybe one of the lords, honestly. But the plan is just, you know, end step Trickster, make the opponent have it. I'm not going to let them minus me. All right, so we're getting a little lucky with how... yeah, we got more lords than tricksters in the deck. I kind of like... oh, well... they do have the Raging Ravine activation. The opponent is now empty-handed. So we do need to flash in a trickster at this point. We're going to try to attack Liliana down. We are going to attack Liliana, but they're going to activate Raging Ravine, and then we'll trickster it again. Yeah, no, I think we've navigated this okay, and the opponent has kind of flooded a bit. Force pretty bad, but you know, if we can snap off something like a Renin 6. All right. So yeah, we do have to attack Liliana. It's just a must. They're going to minus us, so I'm just going to pitch the force, I'm pretty sure. All right. Well, you know, for the time being, we have force up. But if the opponent pluses Lily, I'm probably just going to pitch the force. Renin 6 doesn't do a whole lot against my 2/2s. Not super afraid of that. They could just have another, like, draw another Liliana, make me sack one of my creatures. It'd be pretty dirty. But it looks like they're just casting a spell. Kroxa, kind of annoying. They're going to make me discard 2 spells, but they can't actually cast Kroxa right now. So we are going to pitch this Trickster, I guess. Actually, we have to pitch 2 things anyway, right? So so Liliana is going to bite the dust. Opponent is going to cast that Kroxa again, which is pretty nasty. They're going to cast the Kroxa, and we'll have to discard something. Just that card is pretty nasty. So I guess just pushing more damage just makes more sense here. Although I can put the Lord in the bin, and then when they cast Kroxa, I can flash in Trickster, tap down the Kroxa, get in more damage that way. But if I keep the Lord, I get in more damage now. Yeah, I guess just getting rid of the Lord seems reasonable. Land is actually not terrible in this spot. It can get another white so we can cast Luris. But Kroxa is just going to make us discard Luris. So I can... well, let's go to combat. Definitely going to kill Liliana. You know, I can play play Trickster in response to Kroxa, get 6 power on the board, and then crack Waterlogged Grove. So that we don't have to actually lose anything to Kroxa. The problem is, let's see, how do I get Luris on the battlefield? I get him in hand now. I pitch the Trickster to Kroxa. So barring the opponent drawing exactly a hand disruption spell on their turn, we should be able to actually cast Lurrus next turn, but we're going to take, let's see, 1 now, and then I think getting Lurrus down just seems sick because it forces the opponent to have removal. We can keep casting stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Although, I mean, we kind of have to, right? We have to start casting stuff from the graveyard. Next turn, we can start with like Kumena Speaker. If we draw land, we can actually play a 2-drop. I mean, Kroxa just sort of jams up the board like crazy. So let's dodge Thoughtseize or Inquisition here, and we should sort of be reasonably okay. We're going to get, well, let's see. Let's see what the opponent's got. Kalidas. That seems like a strange choice. Strange choice opponent. Now I kind of want to draw like Vapor Snag, punish them. All right, well, that's one part of the Spreading Seas combo. Opponent's still on 0 cards. All right, so I think I'm just going to play Lurrus and then a Kumena Speaker and pitch whatever, right? It does let them get an attack in with Kalidas. Sort of seems fine for now. Like, card advantage just seems sort of king here. And if Lurrus lives till next turn, I can just play Mariner and like things get pretty dope. We do have this Trickster here, so if they attack with Kalidas, which I imagine they're going to do, I think I have to keep the Trickster in hand here. Now, what can I do with my graveyard? Let's think about it. I can cast 2 Lords next turn if I want to. I could also... what is... Lura says each of your turns. All right, so let's let this resolve. Let's think carefully. I kind of like Trickster to just tap down Kroxa, so I think I'll pitch the Lord here. We can always play the Lord from the graveyard if we need to. Now that does not target, right? Each opponent. All right, opponent not attacking. I can dig it. Force, again, kind of dead. They have a lot of lands, but they would probably like to activate this Raging Ravine at some point. I could just gem a Lord and hold up Trickster. That seems pretty decent, I think. Actually, you know what? I kind of want to go with Silvergill Adept, like mega value. But just jamming Lords and just beefing up the team seems like unbeatable. So... all right, so I am going to try to tap down this Kroxa. So now another trickster off the top is just GG. Opponent can't attack here, surely, right? I mean, maybe they do to gain some life. But the threat of another Lord from the graveyard seems pretty rough in this spot. What do you got, opponent? Another Croxa. Well, at least we're not going to take any damage from this one. At least, you know, not yet. I have to play a little bit faster. I'm playing pretty slowly this game. Okay, Lord, and Lord. Might just do it. If the opponent goes to 18, double block. All right, let's just play this first Lord here. Let's think. They're at 18. They can't block here. They can't. So they've only got one block. They're at 18. They block a 4, and they take 7. Yeah, it's definitely enough, but we'll play another Lord just for fun. Just for fun, opponent. Because that's how I roll. I like to have fun. Luris. Opponent is saying they let me win or something like that. I'd like for you guys to see what's going on over here in the chat. Hang on a second. That didn't work. Oh, opponent just scooped. They can't take it. Just getting utterly destroyed by merfolk, even though they had pretty good stuff. Let's review exactly what Jund was working with there. Now, they did flood a tiny bit, to be fair. It's turn 9. They've got 6 lands out. It's not mega flood. They do, in fact, want to hit 5 lands if they have Ravine. They had, what? Turn 1 Ravine, turn 2 Inquisition Lightning Bolt, turn 3 Liliana, turn 4, I believe it was Croxa, something along those lines. Eventually, they cast another Lightning Bolt. They had another Croxa. They had a Kalitas. Honestly, I think that, well, first of all, Luris, like Jesus, that was ridiculous. I think I navigated it like exactly how I needed to. So what did the opponents say here? Let's show you guys. It's a little hard to decipher. The players who are the most salty tend to be like the least literate, I find. So what do we got? Let you win. Like, I guess he's saying that he let me win, and then he says concede. It seems like a command, like he's telling me to concede, but as it turned out, he was actually conceding himself, just conceding the whole match. Like, just can't take it. GT Luris how to play. Good. What does that mean? Get Luris how to play. Good time Luris how to play. Got Luris. I don't know. Whatever. But anyhow, just I mean, how bonkers was that? Every single turn, I got to play out another Lord from the graveyard. And I believe in the end there was three Lords from the graveyard. So probably one of the best Luris games I've had, like, period. I'll take a screenshot of that, post it in our little Discord over here. Oh wait, that was the wrong screenshot. Let me delete that. Boop. Screenshot it again. There we go. Yeah, I mute everything. I can't imagine like somebody like listening to all the dings like that go on in various applications. Ding 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 bloop bloop. Like, I go to the Discord all the time. I check if there's a little message, then go back to my game. So anyhow, guys, killing it. Let's let everybody know. 5-0 for the evening. 1 was Winota Aggro. 2 was Ad Nas. 3 was Grixis Shadow. 4 was Bant Control. 5 was Jund. Just QEUs though. All right, wow. Like, what a night. Deck really holding up. Like, just, I think 18 lands has to be correct. Has to be correct in this particular approach with Lurrus. It's just, the deck drew so well tonight. I didn't really flood at all. If we look at that last screenshot, I think I've got like, honestly, they made mana and they were cracked. Kind of a split, which is gas. That's kind of what we wanted to do. 18 lands feels excellent. I'm not exactly sure how many caverns we would want. We managed to play around Monolith with Veil of Summer. And given the matchups that we had, we only faced one control opponent. So, I mean, it's a 3-color tribal deck, so sort of hard to say, like, you should run no caverns. But at the same time, Vapor Snag, it seems pretty beautiful. I like it quite a lot in the deck. And you need blue mana for it. Cavern doesn't provide that. But, I mean, they've also got Seas. I don't know. I feel like maybe, I don't know. Like, one of the breeding pools could be a cavern. Maybe one of the fetches could be a cavern. We did draw a lot of fetches tonight. Cavern just like a concession to all of the decks that come sort of the fast, prowess and burn. So I may want to sneak in a couple of caverns, but that's the best night I've had in a long time with Merfolk. So just going to say thanks very much, guys, for joining me this evening. If you're not following the channel yet, I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. I'm trying to grow the channel. I'd love to get like a small sponsorship, which would just let me borrow whatever cards I want to play whatever deck. Obviously, if I can borrow any cards, then I can play, any brew from one week to the next. If we want to play with Baubles with Lurrus, those are like $200 or something or more. Cryptic Commands, if we want to go any old direction, it's just going to be much better if I can get some sort of sponsorship. So I think I need to find about 70 more followers for that to happen. So if you guys want to tell all your friends about the channel, if you'd like to support me with a tiny financial contribution, you can do that by subscribing. Like there's $5 tier, $10 tier. If you subscribe, you get access to some of my custom emotes that I made myself. Currently, I don't have any Merfolk emotes, but that's only because the people that have subscribed paid $5 a month, and those guys are all Soul Herder players. So my emotes are currently all Soul Herder emotes. If you guys want to get in on the emote action, get some Merfolk emotes, you got to show the love. You got to subscribe. It's only $5. Helps me out a little bit, and makes me feel real good inside. So thanks again for joining me. A lot of fun with Merfolk tonight. Thanks, Rothgar, for the list. It feels pretty slick. And yeah, I'll be back maybe this weekend, but if not this weekend, then definitely on Monday with some more Soul Herder, and then next Wednesday with some more Bant. Just going to run it back. You can't 5-0 and then change up a whole bunch of things. So I'll see you guys soon. Have a good night. Bye-bye.